Sorry.
Okay. Thanks.
Wait. Okay, so like I saw some samples from journal articles as well as like generally on YouTube and online, explaining about how do you write a research design, but their explanations are like more towards explaining like the quantitative, qualitative, and mixed methods. Like, how do you write it? But since I'm doing an analysis of a novel, I don't know what my study is called.
Mm.
Like, what type of research is this?
It's
Since it is not the conventional.
critical textual analysis. Yours is a critical textual analysis.
Oh,
So,
critical.
so we're doing textual. Our focus is textual analysis. Um,
Okay.
and sometimes text analysis can also be seen as a qualitative research,
Mm-hmm.
because you are interpreting text. You're gathering data and processing data from text.
Mm-hmm.
Unlike not that different from looking at text such as focus group discussion, survey responses.
Mm-hmm.
So it's qualitative in that sense, and you are using a particular methodology, a particular lens
Mm-hmm.
to study textual no to study text that is produced by a particular person, in this case a
Mm-hmm.
particular writer. you know so
Mm-hmm.
yours is a textual approach. I'm not too particular in terms of having to word whether it's qualitative, whether it's quantitative, whether it's mixed method. That one would be more English language studies type research. But for
Mm-hmm.
humanities, because you are already identifying your theoretical framework, your methodology automatically is drawn from the theoretical framework. So you don't need to identify the methodology as qualitative or quantitative or mixed.
Oh,
So
so I
it's
so
yours is a
sorry.
textual analysis, a critical textual analysis of one particular novel, and you are using key concepts from the theory that you have identified. So that's how you begin the description of your research design.
Okay. Okay. So like I could easily just jump into explaining about my theoretical framework if for my research design, or do I have to like do a separate like I was oh another thing is that for my research methodology,
Mm.
is it necessary if I have like one subsection where I just explain like a synopsis of the corpus of
Yes.
the book that I'm analyzing?
Yes.
Okay.
Um,
So mm-hmm.
in your thesis somewhere, either chapter 1 or chapter 3, you need to
Mm-hmm.
introduce your corpus. And the introduction to your
Mm-hmm.
corpus comes in the form of who wrote it, what's the story, what have others said about this text. That would come
Mm-hmm.
as part of your literature review in chapter 2, right? But
Mm-hmm.
also the rationale for corpus selection. Why have you chosen this particular author and this particular novel by this particular author? And
Mm-hmm.
how will this novel be used in this study? What will it be used for in terms of the analysis, the textual analysis? The corpus is the data. The corpus, no, sorry, let me rephrase that. You can get the data from this corpus, right? But what data you will get from this corpus is decided upon the theoretical framework that you have identified. Okay, so the
Mm-hmm.
same corpus you can get data for feminist criticism. The same corpus
Mm-hmm.
you can get data for Marxist criticism. The same data you can use it to get data for using psychoanalytic criticism. So the theoretical framework is the lens, if you like. The corpus
Mm-hmm.
allows you to gather certain data using that theoretical framework. So, in terms of the information about the corpus, for chapter 3, I recommend that you have summary of the story as well as the introduction to the key characters. So that in chapter 4, you don't need to introduce the story again. You
Mm-hmm.
can just summarize it, maybe a sentence or two, but signaling the reader that this information has already been given in chapter 4.
I see.
Yeah,
Okay then.
so you are introduced to the key characters. What role do the key characters play in the protagonist, the central character's life? Who is the
Mm-hmm.
central character? What is the conflict that the central character is experiencing? What rising actions takes place in this story? You know, what kind of internal conflict, external conflict does the character, the central character experiences? So those key elements are part of the summary of the story, which you will include in the corpus here in chapter 3. And then
Okay.
following this section, you will then describe the methodology. How will you use the theoretical framework in the section above? How will you
Mm-hmm.
use it to study this particular corpus? Just a paragraph or so describing what will you analyze. Will you be looking at Simon's character and you know the conflict or whatever it is that you are focusing on? Will you be studying it at a particular setting at Watford School of Magics? Will you be focusing there? Will you
Mm-hmm.
be looking at Simon's character and his relationship with those in that school? Will you be
Mm-hmm.
looking at Simon's character and his relationship to Marge here that you've identified in the synopsis? You know,
Mm-hmm.
so the corpus tells you what other readers can already tell you in terms of the summary of the story. The methodology tells you what you will be doing in chapter 4. So it's almost like a summary of chapter 4, what you're going to be doing. Not what data you hope to find, but how you will use this novel to analyze for the issue that you have identified, for the theme that you have identified. So you're almost giving the readers a guide or a step-by-step approach into what chapter 4 will be about. Does that help?
So it's basically just yeah, I kind of um got a clearer idea when you mentioned that it's chapter 3 is not about the data I hope to find. I think I got stuck there.
Yeah.
So it's basically just like a general explanation without hoping, like no predictions of like what I hope
No.
my results would be.
Yeah.
Oh,
In
okay.
terms of prediction, if you want to, you may have one or two, but that will also be partly scattered in chapter 1 and chapter 2. In chapter 2, when you talk about when you do a review of literature, for instance, on the chosen one genre, for instance, looking at how other novels that has the same theme of the chosen one, what are the central features of the story, for instance. And then at the end of that discussion, you may say, in the novel, in the corpus, research corpus for this study, these elements of the chosen one will be used to analyze the central character Simon Snow. And then you will say, just maybe the hypothesis, what you hope to get there, and to see whether or not Simon Snow captures the elements of the chosen one. That would be a kind of a prediction lah. Okay, so you're hinting at, if that's what your focus is about, so you're going to be hinting at those elements, so you can hypothesize in chapter 1, in chapter 2, even a little bit in chapter 3 if you want to, but that's not the central concern. The central concern, chapter 3, is to introduce the theoretical framework, the key concepts from the theoretical framework, the corpus, as well as a summary of the methodology that you will use. And
Okay.
because this is a textual analysis, there's a lot of descriptions required. You need to describe, right, what you will be doing, how you will be doing the analysis. So it's quite descriptive. So that's why you need a kind of a paragraph type of writing. So it's not 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 kind of a step-by-step methodology, you know?
So after I briefly explain a summary of the corpus, then there will be a subsection for my theoretical and conceptual. Is this
No,
flow correct?
no.
Or should these just be all in research design?
It will be after the corpus, I would just put research design or methodology. You can use the words research design or you can use the word methodology. But theoretical framework will start this chapter. Chapter 3 will begin by discussing the theoretical framework. And based on the theoretical framework, because the theoretical framework is wide, you're positioning the study within a particular theory. Under that theory, you will identify key concepts. And that's how you make your conceptual framework. So under theoretical framework, you will have conceptual framework. You will discuss maybe 1 or 2 concepts from the theoretical framework may be a combination of different theories. You may look at mythology or myth criticism with psychoanalysis, right? So your theoretical framework, you will maybe introduce 2 different theories. Based on those theories, you will draw certain key concepts from each one and you create your own conceptual framework. So conceptual framework it's almost like a buffet table where you have all the different theories and you pick and choose from the different spread and you create your own framework. So maybe you might look at the chosen one, features of the chosen one as seen from the psychoanalysis, the Jungian school of psychoanalysis. And you may look at the chosen one taking from myth criticism. So that's 2 different theoretical framework, but you're taking key features from these 2 theories and you're creating your own concept. So, conceptual framework from the Jungian school of psychoanalysis may look at the psychological dimensions of the chosen one. The myth criticism conception of the chosen one may look at the journey, the hero's journey, the archetypal hero's journey of the chosen one. So you've got external a manifestation of the chosen one and an internal manifestation. So your conceptual framework may capture that as, it's like If I can share the screen for a second, Barbara.
Okay, sure. Wait one moment. All right. Doctor, are you speaking? I can't hear you.
Not yet. Just a
Oh,
second. Can you see the PowerPoint that I'm sharing now?
not yet. It's still saying presentation, but I don't see the screen.
Okay. Because- Let me try again. Huh? Can you see it now?
It's loading. Oh, I still can't see it.
Oh yeah.
It's probably my internet connection. Maybe I should try leaving and then coming back into the Google Meet, or
Hang on. Do you see anything?
mm, it's yeah, I can see it.
Okay. So do you see the chosen one? The flow chart.
Yep.
So this right now would be your conceptual framework. Okay. So I'm
Mm-hmm.
conceptualizing the framework based on the theories that I have read. Okay. So for the internal journey, can I add something below? Okay. So for the internal journey, I may have key concepts. So for the internal journey, you may bring key concepts from, like I said, from psychoanalysis or from anything that is relevant. You may bring from the external journey, you may look at mythology or myth criticism. For the internal journey, uh,
Internal journey, would that be psychoanalysis?
can I not? Why is it like not there? Yes. So this is just me suggesting. I'm not saying this is what your research will be about, right?
Mm-hmm.
So for internal journey, when you look at it's gonna allow me to add. Yeah. When you look at psychoanalysis, you
Mm-hmm.
draw from the theoretical framework that you have discussed or presented in the first part of chapter 3, right? Um, okay. So, can I add some more? Yes. Okay. So, for instance, you may look at the Jungian school of psychoanalysis. So, when you talk about psychoanalysis, you draw key elements from Jung's school, Jung's archetype, or Jung's the archetypes. Maybe there are certain archetypes that describes the chosen one. This is just an example. Whereas for myth criticism, you may choose from the hero's journey. So the chosen one's journey has two elements, key elements. The internal journey is basically the psychological element, what the hero or the chosen one endures internally. And that comes from psychoanalysis that is informed by theories from key concepts from psychoanalysis, specifically from the Jungian school of psychoanalysis, not the Freudian school. For instance, you may use Freudian school instead, or you may use other schools of psychoanalysis, right? Um, and those key elements are, so you will explore those key elements and how they help you analyze the internal journey. And likewise for the external journey, this is the journey, that the physical journey. So this is the psychological, maybe even emotional elements that the hero goes through, the chosen one goes through. This is the external journey, which requires some kind of leaving, some kind of departure from uh, wherever he is, going to a particular school, the kind of people, the people that he meets. So you will look at the hero's journey, and for instance, Joseph Campbell. Joseph Campbell discusses the hero's journey, taking on elements of mythology. He developed the hero's journey. What is the hero's journey? What are the key elements of the hero's journey? So you may use the external journey, to map out Simon's progress and discuss how Simon's journey is akin to the hero's journey. But another dimension to the discussion of Simon's story, if you like, is the internal
Mm-hmm.
journey, and the growth that he experiences internally. So he experiences, as a hero or the chosen one, he experiences an external journey, which means there are external conflicts, but there is also
Mm-hmm.
internal conflict. So in your analysis, you will then use the same. Then for the analysis of the chosen one, you will analyze the internal conflicts. So you will conduct analysis of Simon's internal conflicts, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Focusing maybe pre magic school and post magic school or at the school. Does, does the story end with him being at the school, or does the story end with him leaving the school and then coming back to where he was from?
The story ends with him leaving, leaving school, and in the sequel he does come back, but I'm not sure if he actually comes back to the school, but he comes back to the society.
Yeah, but you are focusing only on the first book, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so
So
you
like
will have
the end is just like him leaving.
yeah, so you will have two. So this is the methodology for your research design. This is your conceptual framework.
Okay.
Sorry. So the bit that I want to draw your attention to is when you are doing the when you are doing the conceptual framework, you are keeping in mind that the reason you are developing a conceptual framework is because no other research has given you the same kind of approach or methodology. You've not found a methodology that maybe focuses both on the internal journey of the chosen one as well as the external journey. So your research, you are having to develop a conceptual framework which allows you to focus on both journeys of the chosen one,
All right.
which means um, that will also create a focus of title, right? What's your title? What's your research title? What's your current thesis title?
My current thesis title is analyzing chosen one, Simon Snow. I I kind of forgot, but it's more towards like identifying why Simon Snow is considered the chosen one.
The name of this book again?
Uh, Carry on.
So, a tentative working title, if I was to be using this kind of a conceptual framework and methodology, would be The Dual Journey of the Chosen One in Carry On by Rainbow Rao. So, the element of the dual journey is the theme that I'm looking at, right? The methodology
Mm-hmm.
that I'm looking at. The theme is the chosen one. The text is carry on. Remember, I said at the beginning of the supervision process last semester, you've got three key variables. So the first variable, the element of the chosen one, that comes from um, your conceptual framework because you're conceptualizing two different journeys, hence the dual journey. right? The chosen one, the chosen one, if you like,
Mm-hmm.
is the theoretic. It draws from your theoretical framework, okay, and the novel in question or your corpus is carry on. So you got your three key variables. So those are the three key variables. If you remember from, am I making sense, Barbara? No,
Yeah,
I
yeah.
can't see
I
your face. It's not.
yeah,
Is
yeah.
difficult to
I'm still
gauge.
here.
But is it making any sense? Is it clear? Am I confusing you?
Mm, no, you're not confusing me. It's I understand that the title of my research would be based on the variable that I will be like it will reflect what I will be studying. So here there's like three variables based on the title that you wrote.
Yeah. So your research is so your research, if you like, is the overlapping of these three. So your research is here where
Mm-hmm.
the team converge. So that's the strength of or your the significance of your research, but that is also the limitation because there is all these other elements of each focus of the dual journey of the chosen one as well as of the novel that your research will not cover. Yours is only focusing on this small space, if you like, you know. So
Mm-hmm.
when you do a literature review of Carry On in chapter 2, you are exploring all these. Can you see where my cursor is moving?
Yeah, you're at the title of the novel right now.
Yes. So in chapter 2, when you review, among other things, you review the novel, what others have said and done in terms of research about the novel or reviewed about the novel. These are the areas that you will
Mm-hmm.
cover. Okay. And the gap is this part, meaning people have not discussed these elements. What are the elements? The elements of the dual journey, right?
Mm-hmm.
As well as perhaps some elements of the chosen one. Even if other people have discussed the elements of the chosen one, meaning their study comes here. But people's discussion have not considered the chosen one plus the dual journey. And that's why your research will be beneficial, will add to the body
Mm-hmm.
of knowledge on this corpus.
I see. Okay. Now that makes sense.
So that's why the conceptual framework allows you to bring key concepts, key elements, that you find relevant. So this is my recommendation. You may have other recommendation, but visualize it in
Mm-hmm.
some form that then allows you to say, okay, this is this is how I will study the text. You
Mm-hmm.
know, I will I will study the dual journey of the chosen one in Carry On by focusing on the internal and external journey of Simon character, by focusing on the and
Mm-hmm.
his internal conflicts and his external conflicts. Okay, focusing on maybe his journey as well as the relationship, or focusing on maybe focusing on the quest, because that's a key component of the hero's journey. Maybe focusing on the quest, maybe
Mm-hmm.
focusing on relationship with the with his mentor, maybe focusing on his conflict with his relationship with his sidekick, if there is one,
Mm-hmm.
because these are key components of the hero's journey. In the hero's journey, the hero has a kind of a mentor, or the old man motif that guides him. The hero also has a sidekick. The hero also experiences a kind of a shadow, so
Mm-hmm.
conflict with the with his shadow character. So you know how you break down the external conflict and the external journey. What key components of the hero's journey that you want to focus on is your call. Remember, you
Mm-hmm.
the element of the chosen one, there is an internal journey and external journey, and that covers a broad range here, but you are only focusing on one dimension. That means your if I use this kind of an approach, my significance is pretty obvious, but my limitation of my study is I'm not covering every element of the external journey. I'm not covering every element of the internal journey. I'm only focusing on specific settings and specific relationships of Simon's dual journey as the chosen one. So this
Mm-hmm.
can be one methodology. What are you thinking right now?
Oh, I should have written it that way. I guess
You may
reading
use
samples,
this.
reading samples got me a bit confused
Mm,
for writing my part. But I think this one is a bit more because you're giving me an explanation on how to explain for critical textual analysis. So yeah, I'm now a bit less confused.
right. But that's how you see. That's why it requires both critical thinking and creative thinking on your part. You are thinking like a
Mm.
designer. You are designing a research. That's why it's called research design, because you are designing a research, and you are allowed. You're given the permission to create a design that you can see for yourself, allows you to study the text according to your focus, according to your research questions. And that's why the research design sometimes takes a long time, because you have to design something that is objective, that is scientific, rather than just convenient. I want to study this part, I want to study that part of the text. You can't do it that way. You have to make it more objective, so it doesn't come across as convenient, right? So
Mm-hmm.
your research design must be informed by a theory or theories of your choice, right? So you cannot just say, I want to study Simon's character. I just want to talk about Simon's character. Say, yeah, okay, but from which perspective are you talking about his character? If you're talking about his character from the chosen one's perspective, which theory or theories are you using? What key components of the theories of the chosen one are you using? So that creates a more focused, scientific, objective methodology. Okay, so whatever
Okay.
findings that you get might either reflect that the methodology is being used, or the methodology of the chosen one, or the myth or the trope of the chosen one is adhered to in this narrative, right? Or it may also suggest that the writer is challenging the chosen one trope. So the theory tells you the trope of the chosen one, there are certain features. You're using that to analyze the text. The text might support or reinforce the chosen one trope, or
Mm-hmm.
the text may challenge some fundamentals of the chosen one trope. Now that's when it becomes interesting. That means the writer challenges some of the tropes of the chosen one in certain significant ways. If that's what your findings will show, then that's the implication of your research, right? But if the findings shows that the novel adheres to the trope of the chosen one, both the internal journey as well as the external journey, and that's your findings.
Hmm.
Okay,
I
does that
see
help?
now. Yeah, it does. It does. It does help.
I
I
think
can
it's
write
a lot
better, I guess.
easier to
I
write
mean,
it out.
yeah. Now it's. I think I could write this right after class later. Um.
And
Yeah.
if you have trouble getting some of the key concepts, let me know. We can try to kind of like identify where you can get the union, the internal journey, external journey. But it all depends on the
Yeah. Sure.
story. If the story has Simon's inner thoughts, the kind of, or maybe even the narrator, if it's an omniscient narrator, meaning a narrator that is able to tell the reader what is going on in Simon's mind, what is he
Mm-hmm.
feeling, experiencing, what is he thinking. If you have that element in the story, then the internal journey becomes, it makes sense. But if you don't have those elements, it becomes more challenging to analyze it for the internal journey. So it depends on the story.
Okay.
For instance,
All right. I guess.
if Simon keeps a
Mm-hmm.
journal, those things that he writes out about his thoughts, that can be used to study his internal journey.
Okay. Internal journey. All right. Mm, okay.
Okay.
Yeah, I think I can write the research design
All right.
now because I do have a few like um papers that I want to use like as to refer for my theoretical framework, but I just haven't like properly, write it. So I think I will do it today
Okay.
after this meeting. Thank you so much, doctor,
No, a
for
problem.
giving me this
I'm
clarification.
I'm just glad it is useful rather than I'm confusing you even more. That's not the purpose. At this point, you want to get clarity. You want to make it more clear
Yes.
for you so that you can move forward and you know which bits to read up on and where to get your resources and stuff. Yeah. You see, the thing is,
Yeah.
I didn't want to tell you all this, like tell you word for word, like, okay, this is what I want you to do. This is what, because this is your research. It shouldn't be me dictating to you, do this, do this, do this, do this. But I'm listening to what you are interested in. So I'm giving you certain suggestions. But you may look at my suggestions and you may say, okay, fine, but I want to focus on these elements instead of those. You can tell me that if that's what if that's what your research is about, if that's what you're interested in. So let's try to meet one more time next week, end of next week, if possible. Just to kind of
Yeah,
like
sure, sure.
touch base before your mid semester break. Currently,
Yeah,
my
sure.
7th May Friday is still free-ish. So if you want to meet next week morning also, that would be great. Just let me know. That would be the week before mid semester break. But even mid semester break, I'm only taking leave on the 12th. So Monday, Tuesday, I'm still working
Mm-hmm.
also. So if you want to also consult instead of next Friday, if you want to consult the mid semester break week, if I'm not mistaken, your mid semester
Mm-hmm.
break week is the Hari Raya week, right?
Yeah,
Right.
all my friends are saying that it's
Yeah.
after next it's already mid semester
So
for
starting
us
from
after the 7th. Yeah.
Yes, starting from the 8th of
Yeah.
May. So, like I said, I'm still working
Mm-hmm.
on Monday and Tuesday. So, if you want to consult then. But whatever it is, let's target before or by mid-semester break, you've got your research design. Whether in writing or you have it conceptualized, you have kind of gone through it with me, it doesn't matter. The writing
Mm-hmm.
part, you can do that during the break. I'm not expecting you to
Mm-hmm.
have it written out, but I need you to be able to visualize it and even describe it to me.
Yeah, sure, sure.
Okay? So you let me know when you want to meet me based on your progress of your own reading and conceptualizing. So if possible, I would like
Mm-hmm.
you to kind of briefly go through with me what you have done for chapter 2 and what you have done for chapter 3 at the
Yeah,
next
sure.
so
Sure,
that
sure, sure.
so that when we come back from mid semester break, you are only working on your method on your analysis, and maybe polishing up on chapter 2 and 3.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, that's my aim anyways.
Okay,
I'm planning to just focus on chapter 4 by May and chapter 5.
that's right. When
I'm
does
not
semester
sure when
end?
we supposed. Um,
Is it end of
as of this week is week 6, so I think semester should end in June, maybe,
yeah,
because now it's week 6, so just
yeah,
another like
2nd of
8 more weeks
July.
to the
Second
semester.
of Yeah,
Yeah,
should be 2nd of July. Okay, cool.
yeah.
All right.
Then we have all those presentations, I guess. Yeah. So I think that's all from me. I think most of my questions, I did like a list of questions here, but while you were explaining in this sticky note, they are all answered. So I didn't get to ask because you already explained it. Yeah. But if I'm confused again, I can always watch this recording.
And you can message me, you can meet up with me again, don't um yeah, earlier next week, if you feel like, look, can I have half an hour, can I just kind of just go through some of these concerns that I have? Yeah, please do, because this is the crucial time. Once you've got your conceptual framework and your methodology down, the analysis will be a lot easier, because you know what you need to talk about and discuss, and you know what you don't need to talk about and discuss, because your methodology has already described that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah.
All right, so let me know when you need to see me next, and we will schedule another meeting.
Okay. Well, thank you so much for today,
All right.
doctor. Hope you have a nice day.